Hi, folks. Larry Rolla here. I got all my friends on today. It's going to be a great show. And I have on today a real good friend and probably the best at what he does in the whole world. His name is Ian McKinlay. And I just got this off of I really didn't need this, but this was on Google, and he's referred to as a farrier or a hoof doctor specializing in the treatment of horses' feet. He's known for his work on racehorses, particularly in addressing issues like cracks, wall separations, thin hooves. And he also invented, I don't even need this. I can get this off of here. I could just tell you, he is by far the best at what he does in popular demand all over the world. And does a lot of work for a lot of major stables and some of the best thoroughbreds in the world. Also, some of the best standardbreds in the world. And I'm going to bring everybody right on right now, starting with Ian. Hi, Ian.
Hey, how are you, Larry? Good to see you.
I'm doing well. Let me get the rest of our friends on. Here's Joe Guarino.
Hello, hi, Ian.
You know,
Hey,
Hi, Eddie.
how are you?
That's Anthony. All right, so
Hi,
I'm glad that you were able to make it on here. And before we start, I want to show this the film that you sent me. It's an unbelievable film, and it just shows the kind of work that you do and why you do it. And everybody that's listening knows. And in about a month or 2 months, we're going to have over 1,000 people watching this video, and most of them are going to be horsemen. And from the first video first podcast I ever did, I always said that the feet on a racehorse is 99% of the time the primary problem. What happens after the primary problem happens, which is, like I said, 90% of the time, the secondary problem happens. And most of the trainers, including the veterinarians, they believe that the secondary problem is the primary problem. And that's been going on until Ian showed up on the scene. And he's just an amazing guy. I can't say enough good things about him. So what we're going to do, Ian, is we're going to show this film, and then after it's over, then we'll talk some more. And I hope you don't mind that I brought my friends on, because they said if Ian's coming on, I got to come on. I want to see him. I want to talk to him. That's why this is the first time we ever had 5 people on there, and I didn't screw up yet. So let me play the film. Let me play the video.
University of Kentucky graciously let us use a foot of a horse that broke down. This horse isn't the worst footed horse. Typical thoroughbred, rolled under a little bit, but this was mid-range. That's why we picked it. So you can just see how it's where the shoe placement is. So what we did, we drilled holes right in the heel to show where most of the pressure is, the heel of the shoe. So the horse should land heel first. Then I clean up the sole. I haven't taken really any foot off. I'm just cleaning the sole so I can mark it. And you see I put nails back in the 2 front nail holes. That way it shows that this shoe's exactly where it was when we originally took it off. There you go. We're going to pull out our nails. Interesting how soft, when you're drilling through that shoe, as soon as it went through the shoe, it just plunged into these things were in a freezer. That's why you see fresh blood.
The inside web
So
of the shoe.
anyway, and it shows exactly where the marks were. Now I trim the foot, set the toe back a little bit, put the heel back where I like it, set it back and out to get everything off the sole. That's the whole the whole goal. You can see with the glued on, now you see where the old shoe was sitting and now where it is now. So now we're drilling again. I just have the other one there to show we're drilling through the exact same spot. As I said before, man, when we went through that first shoe, it just went into the sole like butter. Now we're drilling through the shoe, and then you're in the actual hook wall. So we take a bandsaw, just cut through the wall so we can get this hoof caps will out, get everything out of the inside. Now you're looking where the drill is coming up through the sole.
Here. They're gone. They come off with the glue.
That's where all the soft tissue is.
Yep.
And outside, you can see I put the drill bit through there. It comes up dead center through the wall. Now this foot's, we just videoed another one. You can see how long the toe is, and how
just keep going flat.
How much more this one rolled. And I mean, they got feet that are worse than these. We're kind of, this one's certainly worse than the first one we did. Now the whole thing is, if you're going to set a shoe back, all the way back under that bulb to get them support, you better have something to absorb concussion, because most of them won't make it in 3-4 days and you start getting so many bulbs. And that's why actually these red and blacks were what they were designed for. So we could set them back where we want them, get the shoe out. And they work very well.
All right. Well, that's it. That's an unbelievable video. Them red and blacks, that's what you invented, right? You invented that pad?
Yeah, pretty well had to, because glue-ons came out probably, I'd say mid-90s. And I wasn't a fan of them at all. Most guys were gluing the same way the nail one. So they just set them in kind of short and tight. And it just locks them right in. And at that point, I'm doing pretty well all the quarter cracks at Belmont. Most of the blacksmiths, they didn't mess with it. They're happy that I come in and take that off their shoulders. And it was going to be interesting, because they started gluing horses that were constantly pop quarter cracks, very, very prone to them. And I was wondering what would happen with the glue-ons. And because it locked in the lower aspect of the foot, that foot's going to expand and they would pop quarter cracks immediately. So then we had to, it was interesting. I had one guy, I wouldn't glue him on. And he said, please. He said, this horse can't take nails. So the first thing we came up with was a butyl tape, keep all the glue off the sole, restricted to the wall. And he was better the next day. So I said, there is something to this. Most horses, it's not because of nails, but he just happened to be one that you couldn't clinch. You'd get a little tender on it. But then when we'd set them back where you'd want, you'd have 4 or 5 days, and you'd have to take them off. That's how sore they'd get on them. Most guys that glue direct, they'll shoe them short. They set the shoe way forward. They're not supporting the bulb like you really want to. So they set them short, and they get away with it, but they're not near as good as when you get that shoe all the way back and you can pull your toe back with it. So, but it was a process getting there. A lot of failures, and that's how you learn.
But I'll tell you something, that film showed a lot. It showed that when you first turned that horse's foot over, the shoe that was on there looked like any other horse's foot you would pick up at any racetrack in the country. In the meantime, when you drilled the hole in the back, you saw that the back of that shoe was pressing right onto the sole of the foot rather than or even if you or the horny part of the foot, and probably the other shoe you put on, so let's say that shoe was a 5, the right shoe would be a 7. Am I correct in my?
Yeah, a lot of them. And let's if you're shoeing traditionally, I couldn't do it any better than those guys. You'd have to hang a shoe out way out where you're trying to get it off the sole, but they'd rip them off, and unfortunately the trainer would say that guy doesn't know how to shoe horses, he can't keep the shoe on. Yeah. So they're in a tough spot, very tough spot. So that's why they kind of set them in. And when a horse is tender on his feet, they usually get up underneath themselves. Now you're talking your secondary lameness, trying to get the weight off the front end, and they'll snatch them off. So you're just in a tough dilemma as what I would call a traditional blacksmith.
Yeah.
Tough. It's shoeing a thoroughbred. I would say it's by far the hardest one to shoe out of all of them. They call them platers, and they won't call them a blacksmith, or they just call them platers. But I'd love to see them come in and try and improve. That's a tough gig. unless you're doing, I always tell it, well, I'm cheating. I'm building wall. I'm giving the horse something you'll never have. And you're not going to correct them rolled heels either by gluing them. It just doesn't happen. Nor are you going to shoe one out of that to get those, those tubules just kind of, they're almost growing parallel to the ground in the worst ones.
Yeah. How did you come up with that red and black pad that don't squash underneath? I mean, after all that pounding, now naturally a horse lands heel first, and they must take thousands and thousands and thousands of steps before they have to be reshod or the pad be replaced. That pad stays right. I've never seen a pad that didn't squash out, but I was out of business before you invented that pad. Does it hold up on the?
Yeah, some guys will nail them. I got a lot of the quarter horse guys, them dash horses. They love them things. They'll nail them on. I don't think they train them quite as hard. The surface is softer. Standardbreds, it's tough. I mean, I got guys that nail them on, but I've seen some that'll break down. They won't totally disintegrate like a lot of the ones out there. Most pads in the standardbred game are very hard. So you're not, all you're doing is elevating the frog off the ground. You're not really giving them the benefit you want, something to absorb concussion.
That's a very interesting point that a lot of people probably don't understand, that the whole shock absorber system on a horse is the frog. And once you start putting pads and degreed shoes on, you raise the frog from the ground, and there's no shock absorber, and then you have another problem.
It gets worse. That's why they go with bar shoes.
Yeah.
Bar shoes are loading the frog and trying to unload the quarters, and it works, but not to the degree what we're doing. I rarely use.
What are those pads made of exactly?
A urethane. Yeah, it's the red part is like an 80 durometer. The reason you got two different durometers, the material in the back is a 50, and the material up front's an 80. So if you do want to nail them, you won't lose your nails. Okay. If you use that soft material all the way around, the shoe would start working, and your nails would loosen up, and you'd have a problem. I have all kinds of guys nail them on in the thoroughbred game. And like I say, in the quarter horse world, those guys love them.
You did that horse of mine, that Quiet Wisdom, and I tell you what, he is unbelievably sound. I can't wait to race him. I just can't get him in. It's
yeah.
But man, he's just reaching and gliding. He ain't towing no more. Man, because you did a hell of a job, man. I thank you for that. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I was going to ask you how that was going. That's good. That's awesome. So I love doing what I do.
What did he do, Eddie? What did he do? Did he? Is that the one that had the quarter crack? Didn't you tell me he had a quarter crack?
Yes, he fixed the quarter crack, and I remember when he did a quarter crack back in Roosevelt Raceway or Yonkers Raceway, when he drilled he says, you got a good memory, 6 holes, and then he copper wired it, and then he did his miracle, and it worked. But this time, I couldn't believe what he was doing. I mean, he has this wire that it's unbelievable how he does it, but he cleans it all out. He closes everything up, and he makes sure that he puts the glue-ons the way. Man, he's an artist. He's a professional, man. It's great.
Let me make a statement, Ian, and see if Ian and you too, Eddie, see if you agree with this as far as the thoroughbreds go. The thoroughbreds naturally have a much thinner wall than the standardbred. The thoroughbred nails that they use are half the size and half the thickness because of that reason. And they don't go up as high. And after you shoe a horse 2 or 3 times, there's no more. If you don't go in the same nail, you can't go in the same. The foot don't grow fast enough. The foot probably. Tell me if I'm right or wrong when I'm done. The foot grows about 1/4 of an inch a month, If you shoe a horse every month, you can't go up much higher than you went with the first set of nails. So after you shoe a horse 2 or 3 times, you're searching for a solid wall to put a nail through, and that's when the problem starts. The wall starts to fall apart. Then they start cheating. They go back a little too far. They go up farther, and that's why, in my opinion, I guarantee you, and you'll be able to tell me, both of you guys will be able to tell me if I'm right, that if you took every thoroughbred at Belmont Park right now, or at wherever they're stabled at, and every horse would have that. Every horse should have rebuilt walls. Should have, if you're not going to glue them on, at least rebuild the wall so you give yourself someplace to put a nail without cheating. Do I have it kind of right as far as that goes with a thoroughbred foot?
Yes, I would say you're right, and that's what Ian is professionally. He built the wall on my horse, and it's unbelievable. I mean, I really can't explain it, but I know what he did. It just, I mean, the horse it turned around 110%.
He's like Trump. He's building a wall.
There you go. Yeah. The one thing they did, I think it's probably back in maybe right around 2000. They redesigned the shoes. Now each side will have like 7 nail holes, so you can choose to find a healthy part of your wall. You don't have to go back through the same nail hole area. And the guys that pay attention, they'll get away with it. They can keep a foot pretty healthy, but hell, I watch guys rip shoes off and don't even get rid of the clinches. It astounds me. But
yeah,
that's why some guys stand out and some don't.
Yeah.
Well, that's why they're called shoemakers. They're not called farriers or blacksmiths.
Yeah. Look, it's look, those guys that are dedicated, man, they can do a hell of a job. It's a tough animal to shoe.
Yeah. Yes.
You see what you got there.
Yeah.
It's so thin wall, and then it's interesting. I got called down to Jamaica to glue some horses, and the first horse they brought out, I mean, he had a perfect hoof capsule. You just don't see him that often. And I thought, I wonder why the heck he's gluing this thing. Because usually they got them typical rolled under heels and stuff like that. And the guy was heading to the track to train the horses, and they just had him lined. The second horse, same type of foot. And the guy came back. I said, man, these feet are nice. I said, what? Why is he gluing them? And he said, well, they're heading to the Caribbean Challenge. Very hard track, and Arthur likes your pads. So I said, okay. And now by the time I'm doing the third one, there's about 6 blacksmiths standing around watching me glue on shoes. And I'm sure they're wondering why the hell they glue on shoes would be their question, but they just wanted to see it done. And I asked them, I said, I'm amazed. These 3 horses got beautiful hoof capsules. I said, what do you guys do for foot maintenance? Any mud, grease? No, man, get their feet too soft. Their feet will collapse. And I think in our game, I remember before, what they call magic cushion, now the green Epsom. So these guys are just packing with mud every day. Bowie clay was the big thing.
Yeah.
And I think they keep them too soft, and they just collapse on you.
Yeah.
That's a good.
So it's a management thing, but grooms, they're on automatic pilot pretty well. They just do it. I mean, we don't have the grooms like we had back in our day. That does not exist.
No.
So.
Not one groom.
And I understand a lot of blacksmiths like them soft because it's easy to trim out the frog and the sole and stuff like that. But there's you could soften a horse foot up in 2 days and make it beautiful. That guy shoe them and then tighten them right back up. You're not going to lose a foot in 2 days, but it's just management.
Them are all good points. Very, very. I never even thought about it. I never. But you're right. Every time you go to the blacksmith, he might tell the groom to bring the horse back in a couple of days, soften his feet up, because they just can't pair it out. You know,
Yeah.
so that's a good point. And I wonder which one is more truer, that these people in Jamaica just never pack their feet, and they keep them hard. Just like I remember there was a veterinarian called Dr. Oh God, I can't think of his name. He got out of the veterinary business and he went Dr. Adams.
Oh yeah.
Start racing mules or raising mules. And their feet are like hard as a rock. No quarter cracks, no nothing. And so I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but I'm just thinking as you were talking that is it possible for them heels that grow under because the foot is too soft? I guess that's true because there's an awful lot of pressure on one leg at a time hitting the ground. And then I think I heard you say one time that now the base underneath the 3-4 inches of cushion is no longer clay, it's stone dust.
Yes, absolutely. Pretty well every track's gone that way.
Wow.
I was just talking to Brittany Russell today. I did one for her, and they're talking about redoing Pimlico. I said, they're not going to change the track, are they? Like strip it and put down stone dust. And she said, I hope not. It's probably the best track they got in Maryland by far.
Wow.
Yeah, we have so many. Just to give you an idea, when I first went into the Thoroughbreds, 1985, and I never thought they'd have quarter cracks because the track's so deep. Yeah. And they had all kinds of them, but I never knew they're that thin. Like you're saying earlier with the copper wire, we used to use copper wire with the Standardbreds. It was way too big. I'd never be able to get in the wall. So that's why everything got geared down. I'm sorry?
Judd Butler. He used a lot of wire.
Yeah. And so, oh God, what was I? Oh, so when I first got there, I might see one wall separation, which is caused from an abscess in the sole. So I might see one of them a year. Now they're very prevalent because they got stone dust base, and when it's like the other day for the Derby, they're going to the bottom. That's a hard, fast track, and man, it takes a tough horse to roll over that thing.
Did you shoe anything that was in the Derby, Ian?
Yeah, we did. I actually glued that Render Judgment. Nice horse. He had a quarter crack, which he was training. He trained fine, but his feet were stinging him a little bit. He's actually spot on right now. I was just talking to the owner today. He said, no, he is perfect because it wasn't. He had a quarter crack, and he just wasn't perfect up at the hairline. So we didn't even patch him. We just laced him, but we put glue-ons on him just to absorb the concussion in the heel area. He looked beautiful training in the morning, but that was a gorgeous track. And then, well, the Derby's the Derby. It's a different breed of horses.
Oh, yeah.
Kenny even thought, he's just a cut below those horses. So he'll be a very nice horse, no doubt.
Have you been to Saudi Arabia yet? They call you for any?
No, I've never been to the Middle East. But if Gatro's horse had to run good, White Abarrio, he would have, that was the game plan. Saudi and then on to Dubai. So I would have ended up in Dubai, but Rick's sharp guy. He just, he wasn't any good, so he just brought him home.
Right.
All right. Any questions, Anthony?
Yes, sir.
No questions.
No, I just remember in the 70s when I heard Ian was at Monticello. He probably don't remember me, but I'd follow him around just to see. I was just amazed at the way he would just, flush the horse's foot and reconstruct it and just do all these things. I says, holy shit, how could somebody do something like that,
Yeah.
And I'm surprised. I didn't, I'm out of it for, over 40 years or so. And I was glad to hear that you were still doing it, because I didn't, of course, I wasn't in touch with anybody, so I didn't know.
If I was if I was younger, I would have. I think I told Ian this because I know Ian forever,
Yeah.
and I think I told Ian that when I first in 1959, I claimed a horse from Anthony Abatello, and he had a quarter crack, and what he had, he drilled a hole on each side of the crack and put a nail in there and just bent it over.
Yeah, that's an art.
and I, yeah, well, it was an art trying to get it out.
Oh God, I can imagine.
And what I was doing prior to the horses, I was racing cars, and I had my own street car that I took all the emblems off it, and I filled the holes with I went to Sears and Roebuck and filled them with the fiberglass kit, and that was my first patch job. And then naturally later on, way later, they come with all of these compounds that I guess everybody's using. I remember when they first come out, the blacksmith wouldn't use them and they were wearing these gas masks and everything. Do you remember that when they first came out? And nobody.
Yeah, we never used that glue. We had a product from 3M. It was structural adhesive. It's actually better than the glue we use today, but it takes 12 hours to set up. Wow. But those patches were unbelievable. Well, that's why I got into Belmont. When Dr. Judd Butler would patch him, he'd put screws through fiberglass, wrap it around the heel and on the sole. But you generally wear a bar shoe to help hold the patch in. So when I first went to Belmont, Dr. Hunt was watching me, and he said, Layson, he'd never seen it before. I said, wow. And he said, what kind of shoe? And I said, well, whatever he goes best in. He says, he doesn't need a bar shoe. And I said, no, not at all. And he said, well, you come over if I call you. And within a year, I was in 80% of Belmont. It was unbelievable.
Wow.
And I had no idea they'd have that many cracks over there. So
and I got news for you. If ISA ever made a rule, if I was ever working for ISA, I would say that Ian McKinley had to report to every barn with a veterinarian and pull the shoes off, and you would be rebuilding the feet on every horse stable at Belmont and Aqueduct and every other racetrack around. That's my and what I was going to say before. If I was younger, I would hang out with you and for no money, and just teach me how to do this stuff. And once I was real good at it, I would be the one that would do your. Then we become some kind of partners or something. And I'd go to Saudi Arabia, and I'd wind up doing the camels down there and everything.
There you go.
Are you backing off now at all, Ian? Are you backing off?
I'm sorry?
Are you backing off now, or are you still busy as hell?
Yeah, no, it keeps rolling. We got some new stuff coming. It's just unbelievable. It's that's the beauty of this game. It just keeps changing. We've got the guys with those sensors. It looks like now we'll be able to adhere them on all 4 feet, know exactly how that foot's traveling through the air, how it lands, everything. This is all coming. I should see them guys another week. And that's the sensor will go on the face of the front of the foot. So you adhere these things, and it sounds like it's some kind of laser that just knows where the ground is, so it can tell how the foot's moving through the air, how it lands, stride length, concussion. They can extrapolate all this. This is all.
What do you mean? The sensor would go where a toe weight would go on a.
Yes, exactly. Be just like that. But you can put them on all 4. And what I'm looking forward to is you take a horse that's not moving well, shod traditionally, same thing, film everything the right way, and put the sensor, then glue them and put the sensors on again and see where we're at in 2 days.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But it's going to also, it'll tell you what's going on behind. I think most hind end lameness comes from front feet.
Of course.
Yeah, exactly. And then once you get them right up front, then it takes time to get them right behind. There's no magic wand, not in this game.
a lot of horses that are at Belmont, that their sacrums are so out of whack, it's pathetic.
Yeah.
Being caused to a lot of front end, soreness and injuries.
Yeah.
It's terrible, and it's so deep, that track.
Yeah.
It's horrible. So there's more breakdowns on the track than there is all over the world. It's crazy.
It's sad. You know the saddest thing, because in my opinion, I don't know how Ian feels about this, but in my opinion, 99% of the racehorses, they're racehorse sound. 99% of that racehorse soundness comes from the front feet, and which is a primary problem in my opinion, 99% of the horses, which create a secondary problem, which, like Ian says, they start going underneath themselves to get off the front end, and then the back end starts. And what amazes me is two things. First thing is, like I had a chart up last week showing that the last bones, muscles, and maturity of the bones that grows the hardest, that takes the longest, is the whole back end, and that's where they start going underneath themselves. That's what the second thing is. I was in the thoroughbred business for 30 years on and off, and I think I seen 2 veterinarians inject the back end. They don't even pay attention to the back end. It's just unbelievable to me. But anyway, that's just my observation and my opinion. You have an opinion on that, Ian?
Well, I don't know what the vets are doing. I know there's all kinds of issues behind. I get a lot of horses. Once you get them sound up front, they're so off up front. Then once they sound, they go, whoa, we got a problem behind. That becomes so visible behind. And the thoroughbred game's so different than the standardbred game because you got a rider up front on them too. Yeah. You've already got 2/3 the weight in the front end. Now you throw a rider on top of that. So those front feet it's tough deal.
Well, see, now with Heist, you can't.
Just about every rider come back and say, how was he? And they say a little off behind many, many times. A good rider, a rider that knows, they always say little off behind. And then they do nothing about it.
See, you can't, with the problems behind that, you cannot compensate, and you can't do an internal blister no more. You can't do anything because of the rules that they made. So you really can't keep a horse really sound, no matter if it's front, back, and Ian takes the pressure off the front with his techniques and expertise. And but if they would just let the trainers try to get these horses sound because of their soreness, and it'll be a lot better. But you can't do nothing. Cannot.
I have to be very careful in my questioning because I have a tendency to dig right into the situation, and Ian is very, very politically correct. He will never. You can tell by his answers. He skirts right around the veterinarians, right around the blacksmiths, right around the trainers. He's a very, very sharp guy. Very smart guy.
I noticed the same thing, Larry.
Yeah. And I have to tell you, if there's no veterinarians around, all Ian has to do is his thing, and every horse would benefit from him without any veterinarians on the ground. Definitely. Especially now with Heisa, where you can't do nothing. You're going to need a guy like Ian. And I told Ian, I think I told him about 2-3 months ago, I said, why don't you just hire 2 or 3 young kids with good, strong backs, teach him your way, teach him the right way. It would only take a guy that knows what he's doing a week to master it the way Ian wants it to, and then just send him out on the road and sit.
A week.
I don't think a week will do.
I don't think
all the years he has in it. It's not easy teaching somebody that.
A week.
Back at Roosevelt Raceway, he had one of his proteges, Gus Laney. You probably know him.
Oh, Gus is fabulous guy. Fabulous guy, man. He was unbelievable blacksmith.
Yeah. He
Hey,
really
but
was.
you're talking back then. Those guys
Yeah.
had to be able to feel a horse. I remember at the Meadowlands and Tom Gambino's shop, Howard
Tom
Beisinger
Gambino, yeah.
again. Yeah, Tom was a great blacksmith. And
Yes, he
Howard,
was.
he'd tweak the shoes, go out, go a trip, come back. No, we got to do something. And he'd be with them all afternoon until he got them perfectly balanced. Now, forget it. They just go from what I
They
hear.
just go. Do you
Yeah,
remember
it's
Nick?
unbelievable. It really
Nick-
is.
Do you remember Nick Tinger? Nicholas Tinger? They were Hungarian brothers. They were right next to Chapman
Oh,
on Roosevelt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's who
good guy.
Chapman used. And those guys were pretty good. They drink all day,
Yeah.
but they were pretty
Yeah.
damn good.
Yeah.
You know how far I go
Nicholas
back?
Tinger.
I go back to the Sharp brothers at Yonkers Raceway that shoot for Houghton and Dancer. Remember? Do you ever hear of them? The Sharp brothers. They were two
No.
brothers in a blacksmith shop. Yeah, they were the first blacksmiths I was introduced to.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's changed.
Ian,
And getting back to the vet, I don't know what the vets do, but I know many trainers say, no, we got a problem behind. They know what's going on now. How they fix it, that I don't know. I glue some horses behind. They can get totally messed up back there. The heels are just, bulbs are right on the ground, big long toe. But behind, I can wedge them. So I can change their angles. It just eases them turning over so much. It helps them. But you're still, to get up to the real problems, which up in the back, I'm not sure what they do, to tell you the truth.
I've come to the conclusion about 30 years ago. I was sitting under a shed row and just watching the horses walk around, cooling out. And I noticed that most of the horses' back feet were longer than the front feet, where I believe it should be the other way around. However, I start thinking about that. And when especially with thoroughbreds, when the thoroughbreds are young, they go to an outside farm, not the trainer, to an outside farm, and to train for about the first 6 months. And I think when at that place, when they start shoeing them, they just do the front feet. They do the front feet, and a lot of them skip the back feet because for obvious reasons. And the back feet just stay longer, and they go barefooted a lot behind, and that might start that whole process of, like you were talking about, behind. And I think that might be the reason, because the longer you let the foot grow, the further down the blood line is going to be, and you can't cut them shorter, even if you wanted to cut them shorter. So I think proper hoof maintenance from the time the first set of shoes are put on them, they should do the front and the back at the same time, but I don't think they do.
Yeah, I don't know, because I don't see them till they get to the track.
Yeah.
Rarely see any of them horses.
So what do you got on in the future? You're just waiting for these.
Well, now we're getting back into the standardbred game. I met up with some guys from Belgium. It's called Bartek, and they split the shoe and the toe so the heels can move independently. And they've got a nice shoe. It's coming, but we're looking. I've got some. I was actually talking to Connie Svensson, great blacksmith. We were talking about him and a couple other Swedish guys. We want to glue some horses behind, because for some reason these trotters go unbelievably well barefoot, which lets a foot function exactly the way it should. But the stone dust just burns them up. But we should be able to we're looking, this would be one of the ones where we film. Hopefully those sensors are out by then. We're going to film them, put the sensors on so we can see everything, have them shod normal, and then split them shoes. I got a couple guys real excited. We're just waiting on the shoes. There's really no grab to them at all. They're kind of flat. So I don't know if they're sounds like they're coming with a full swedge behind. So you got a little bit of sharper edge, get over the track a little better.
Do you know that
fascinating, the data.
I had many trotters, especially when I was up in Monticello. A lot of the guys from New York, used to send me up their trotters that were hitting all over the place. And the first thing I did was pull the shoes. And I would let them, and I had an edge because all the racetracks were stone dust. And I let them wear the shoes the way they want. And when they got right down to the blood in either direction, they were never level. It was always either on the inside or outside lowered. When they got down to the blood and they got dangerous, I would tack a flat shoe onto them. And I'd leave that shoe on until race day. And by doing that, by letting them wear the feet the way they want, is however it was tipped, I eliminated a lot of hock boots, a lot of shin boots, a lot of ankle boots, just by letting them wear the feet the way they want, and then put a shoe on to protect them, and then take the shoe off right after the last warm-up trip, and they race for the 2 minutes with no shoe behind. Yeah. And I had a lot of success doing that. So these are I paid attention. That's why I'm so admiring of you, because and that's why I keep asking questions, because you've now you just said something that really piqued my interest about the split shoe. Now, I don't understand how a split shoe would make a horse's heel act any differently than a shoe that's tacked on properly.
Yeah, it'll let them. What I'm doing now in the thoroughbred world, we're using a split shoe on all the horses got a jammed heel, and most, them thoroughbreds, you got to 3/4 of them, or they're going to be sore or pop a quarter crack, one or the other. But they're going right on, sounder than ever, with the split shoe. It just lets them bulbs go up and down. You can literally well, that was one of the wild things about those hoof capsules. Once you pull them off, how flexible they are. When we first cut that and pulled the hoof capsule, because it's there's so much moisture in it. That hoof capsule, the one we cut in half there, that came out of a freezer. So it was just like it was before it went in the freezer. Let's put it that way. The amount of moisture, and that hoof capsule is so flexible. It blew my mind. I thought it'd be a little more rigid than that. So the only thing keeping it locked in is a full shoe.
Yeah, now that I think about it, you're right. The back bulb, that's basically the same as letting the horse wear his foot the way he wants. With a split shoe, he can lower the outside with the inside staying straight. Yeah. 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 We're gonna find out. We're gonna video. We'll get some GoPros, and with standardbreds. I mean, you just put on the cart in front. It's unbelievable how good the footage is. We'll see it. There'll be no doubt about it. How he starts moving is, I think, those I get a lot of knee knockers will get off their knees as soon as you get them sound up front in their feet, and you guys know that. But it's interesting when you film them to see what's actually happened. I think when they're trying to protect the medial heel, so they'll swing the front right will swing way in underneath themselves. These are pacers, because they got hobbles on. They're not free to move their leg quite like a thoroughbred will go wide up front. I think the standardbreds, they'll swing that leg in, load the lateral aspect of the foot to protect the medial. But when you're watching it on film, you just see this knee coming over and they clip it. Some of them smack it big time. But as soon as you get them sound, they don't have to protect that medial heel, and they come clean. Years ago, many years ago, I bought a horse from Chapman for $5,000. His name was MMF, and he could never really get him to the races because he had 4 oblong feet and quarter crack on each side of every foot. And I bought him for $5,000 because they just couldn't control the quarter crack. And this was in the 60s when Chapman first came down. And I bought him, and through season Roebuck fiberglass kits, I wind up patching all of these cracks. And I realized then that the strongest foot is a round foot. An oblong foot is the weakest foot because the sidewalls on an oblong foot are very, very, very thin. Yeah. And it's hard to put a nail there because you're going to quick them. and they crack easily. And I actually rebuilt I rebuilt the foot with fiberglass, and I was able to tack the shoes on right into the fiberglass, to, just the way you do it with your stuff.
Yeah.
Now, I think probably through breeding and everything else, they bred out a lot of lameness and disformities and conformation flaws, and I don't see too many horses today with feet like I did years ago. But do you find the same thing whenever you walk in a barn and see an oblong foot? You know that one before you pull the shoe that wall is going to be very, very thin, and you're going to have a problem.
Yeah, well, I'm going to glue them, so that's not even an issue.
Right.
Usually got that big long toe on them, which I pull all the way back.
Yeah.
Standardbreds are a lot trickier gluing. They aren't. It's not like flipping a light switch in the thoroughbred world. I think the sole they might be a little thin soled and they'll flex down. I would say maybe 25% of them don't get along with the glue-ons. I'm going to start putting a strap underneath the frog just to try it.
What do you mean a strap? What do you mean?
Like a bar, a thin plate, just so it's frog pressure. Just stabilize that frog so it's not flexing down, because your tracks are so hard. Like Yonkers, it doesn't matter what you put on them. That frog's not hitting the ground because there's no cushion.
Right.
Yeah.
Might as well be on blacktop.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'll find out immediately. You just got to take the same horse, switch it around, put the new setup on, and see what happens.
I know when the Meadowlands first opened, everybody, no matter what shoes they were wearing, everybody switched to running horse plates, just open aluminum shoes with a grab, because in the beginning the track was so deep and cuppy, and they just stuck to that. So you don't see no bar shoes no more. You don't see none of that stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The shoeing world, how it's changed. Some things come back around. Split shoes, they were around before and they didn't work. But these guys, they're thinking. That's for sure. It'll be interesting. That'll all be coming this year, for sure.
Ian, I thank you so much for coming on. I don't want to take no more of your time, because I know you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and you're driving all over the place. I want you to come back once you have the sensors on these horses, and we'll talk about that. Maybe I'll have some film about that.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
So, that's coming shortly. I think those guys are coming up next week. We're going to put on some thoroughbreds.
Well,
but there's never been a sensor where they could go full speed, and this will be one where you can actually have them on them in a race.
Wow.
Or at least coming out of the gate and breezing, you go that far for sure. Before it's just at a jog.
Come by my barn and throw them on.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna do it right down here in Maryland. Testing. Once we get them, we'll be doing a bunch of horses. Just data. The more data you get on same tight-footed horse or whatever the lameness is, that's what I'm kind of excited about. I know horses with suspensories, when we glue them, obviously they got suspensories because they're going heavy toe. It's just more stress on the suspensory, and they'll calm right down. As soon as you get them happy, they calm right down. Ankles, same way. They're not addressing the ground correctly, and I get guys, as soon as they get any kind of ankle issue, glue them. I said, man, those feet look pretty good, and they glue them because it works. It goes away. So it's interesting. But our sensors will confirm all this, because a lot of that stuff, they had it in the beginning, they had them on the ground side of the shoe. And this horse was a horse that we did this down in Florida. And the guy said, there's something wrong with that one sensor, because he's landing, there's more he's hitting harder on the right one. He didn't say medial lateral. Well, he's still protecting that medial heel. So he was landing heavy. You couldn't see it. He looked pretty good walking out, but it's something you couldn't see, but those sensors picked it up. So this is exciting stuff.
I designed a training center. I'm not going to mention which one, because I don't want to get nobody mad at me. But I designed a training center, and one of the things, aside from the hyperbaric chamber and a few other things, I recommended a mat, a censored mat that you could run or walk a horse on, and they would tell you the same thing as what you're talking about. But they never did it. I guess they didn't want to correct the problem. They just wanted to keep treating the problem. So but I
might not have the technology yet either. It'd be interesting. The guy with the sensors, he actually works with Olympic. He works with I think 12 Olympians. It's all sprinters, and every spike had a sensor in it, so they could tell exactly the way they're hitting the ground. And then he would come. He was a strength training coach, so he could literally strengthen different parts of the leg. I mean, the anatomy's endless with those guys, with the degree they go at it. Let's put it that way, just to correct their movement. Fascinating.
If you wind up, there's two suggestions I'm going to make before you go. The first suggestion is do what Dr. Steele did. When Dr. Steele left Stanley Dancer and the Standardbreds, he went to the equestrian horses, and he called up a couple of vets that I was helping out at the time, and he says, get out of that business and come here, because what you get $100 for, I can get $1,000 for, meaning like injecting an ankle or something, and he was getting like 10 times the money, and they'd be glad to pay it. So the first thing I would do if I ever learned your technique and I was 50 years younger, I would go visit all the equestrian people, and I would also take a trip to Dubai, where you could probably charge them $10,000 a foot, and they'd be more than happy to pay.
Larry, take it.
You would find out very quickly in your equestrian world, you have no shot. Those vets can control it completely. As a blacksmith, they either call you in or forget it. You have no shot of getting in there.
Yeah,
and it comes back. You've got the owners who pay the bill really don't know anything.
Yeah, they might throw you off a building.
Yeah, good.
I'd love to be an agent for the equestrian people. You buy a horse for $100,000 and charge them $1 million. You go say,
I got one. I do one about every 3 months. He's got just a weak spot in the one hind foot. Same thing. It'll grow down an inch, and then it'll start cracking back up. And I mean, they lease that horse for $250,000 a year. That is the right game.
Wow.
And Frank still gets to train them. The people who lease them come to him, so the horse never leaves his side. And fascinating world, but money is not an object in that game. Yeah. That's for sure.
I think Bloomberg, the ex-mayor Bloomberg's daughter, has about 15 or 20 of them down there. That must cost $1 million apiece.
Yeah,
I'd like to be the agent for that outfit.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ian, I thank you so much for your time. Go to sleep. You got to get up at 5 o'clock and get on the road again. Where you heading tomorrow? Roseville?
Roseville.
Actually, I'm at Fair Hill tomorrow. Then I'll go to Delaware Park. They're all back up there. Some of the guys come up. It's and then the next day. Remember Mad Max? I'm actually doing Mad Max on Thursday. I love that guy, that Jake Lehman. Nice guy. That old horse, he's got some feet. It's unbelievable. I mean, they're bad, but he does very well in the glue-ons. Yeah.
Fair Hill. You see that barn, the therapy barn?
Yes.
Fair Hill. That barn was Bruce Jackson's barn. When I got out of the thoroughbred business, I gave all Buddy Jones's horses to Bruce Jackson.
Yeah.
And about maybe 3-4 months after that, I get a call from Buddy's daughter, Kelly Jones, and she says, all my horses died in a fire. And I can't say too much because I don't want to get nobody mad at me, but I think I convinced Buddy to turn, don't get into the racehorse business. You have 5,000 acres with the best trainers in the world over here and the best horses in the world. He got one turf course training, two artificial dirt and regular dirt, and just create a therapy center, and that's exactly what they did. And they
do a heck of a job, Bruce.
Yeah.
They do an awesome job, man.
That they had to buy a second farm. They bought a second farm. They have another 80 horses on the farm.
Yeah,
and I think they stable 80 right there at the place. And I think that equicizer that they have there, that big walker, I think they bought that from Germany. It came in bits and pieces, and we all put that together.
Yeah.
And so you must know Amy and Bruce and all of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I was one responsible for Mike McCarthy buying a barn there for $100,000, and he sold it a year later for $1 million.
Yeah,
unbelievable. That's a premier place down there. And,
well, now you're getting back to the sensors again, so you can take your horse and go over those 3 different surfaces once again, see what changes. Oh, it's going to be fascinating. I'm really stoked about all this stuff.
I had an
it's funny. I was
farm.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you said something. I didn't hear what you said.
I said I had an equicizer at my farm. It was the original equicizer out of Canada, and they came down and they put it up for us, and we used we made this guy who does fencing made a ring for us, and we put like 6 foot of cement in the middle to hold the machine on, and we used about 8 inches of blacktop, and then on top of that we put about 3 or 4 inches of chopped tire rubber. It was really good because when it rained it drained perfectly, and it was a good cushion on the horse, and that was a pretty amazing machine. We had a 6-horse one, and it was good, just to keep them moving, during the week a little bit.
Amy tells me that hyperbaric chamber is busy 24 hours a day at $300 an hour. Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well,
they do a good job. All right, guys. Well, good seeing you all.
Thank you for coming on, Ian, and we'll talk to you soon.
Eddie, keep me posted.
Send us that tape when you get it.
Thank you again,
I'm
Ian.
sorry?
Send us the video when you get it.
Oh, yeah. Once we get that down, it's going to be, this will be I think it's this, probably, it won't be this week. Next week they're coming up is what they're planning.
Good luck.
And well, thanks, guys.
Okay.
Nice seeing you again.
We'll see you. Thank you.
Good night, Ian.
Okay. Nice guy.
He's a smart guy. Very smart.
Imagine if he wasn't here, like all these horses, how would they be corrected? I mean, you have so few guys that can do half of what he can do.
Do you know when they closed the Meadowlands racetrack? I had about, I think, 5 or 6 horses there. I don't even remember. And Eddie Palmieri was working with me and taking care of these horses, and we were racing them there and just having fun. And then they closed the barn area. And what I did was I bought a little stool. It comes about 2 feet off the ground with wheels on it, because I was very, very seriously thinking of patching the quarter cracks and everything, because I was relicensed at the time. I had my licenses back in New York, and that's what I was going to do. I was just going to do quarter cracks, but I found out real quick after about 2 days, even sitting in that stool, I couldn't do it.
It's a backbreaker.
So that was the end of that. But
I put on my socks and I'm done.
But he makes a good living. He's very good. Okay, Eddie. We'll start off with you and you shipped another horse to Finger Lakes.
Yeah.
And he win right off the bat. And let's see. I think I have another race here that you that you won. Now let me see if I could find it.
Thursday, May 8th.
Thursday, May 8th. Now I
Yes.
know I have it here someplace.
I love the horse's
That
name.
the horse that paid $40 or something like that?
Yeah.
I love the horse's name.
First Trumpet.
First Trumpet, yeah. First Trumpet out of 7.
You should have heard me. You should have heard me when I was. Dutrow was right next to me, Rick Dutrow. And I was screaming. I was saying things that they'll probably suspend me, but I don't give a sugar. Yeah.
Where the hell is this?
I don't know. You put it to sleep. No, I can't wait to race this horse Ian fixed up for me. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I breezed him in 46-2, and I never breezed. He just went on his own. And the clocker called me up, and he said, who is that horse? When is he racing?
Yeah.
You know, he
What
says,
is it, Eddie? You just can't get him in? There's just no race for him?
No. I put him in for Saturday, and there was 3 horses entered in that class that I wanted to put him in. I don't want to overclass him right off the bat. You know, I think he's going to go forward. I think he's going to be. He's pure white. What a gorgeous animal!
Wow.
He really. Yeah, I claimed him off Todd Pletcher. You know. So.
Where the hell did I put that video? I have your video up, Eddie, and I can't find it. So keep talking, guys.
Yeah. So, and then this horse, you know, Trouble Luck, he went and paid $44 down at Aqueduct, a couple of weeks ago. And my owner says, let's get rid of him. I want to get a better horse. So I said, all right, I'll send him to Finger Lakes to my friend. So I sent him up 3 days ago, and I put him in to go. I dropped him to an 11,000 claimer. Now what is it, 3? And it was 5 furlongs, and he went off the screen.
And Eddie, how much should I race for? What's the purse?
That purse, that was 18,000. So they get 60%. 60%.
So, I mean, is that bad that this owner, you know, he can collect just about, you know?
No, it's not bad. It's just that, you know, first of all, I leave them up there when I send them because I don't want to ship. It costs you $1,000 round trip. You know, it's ridiculous. And if you
Eddie,
don't
what's the name of the horse that win?
First Trumpet.
First Trump.
First Trump.
First
Jose
Trumpet.
Lascano to the outside. McCaw steps in. All set.
Yeah, this is
And Unbroken Chain breaks sharply from in between horses. Right to the front is the lone leader. Towards the inside, as First Trumpet will apply the pressure. As Unbroken Chain is going to take back just a little here. Is going to let First Trumpet move to the inside, and these two are head and head.
16-1.
Stalking just off of them
Yep.
from third. And just a touch keen. That's game time.
Joel
Gladiator wants
Rosario.
to go is behind this leading trio. The trailer is Outsource. They hook up with the backstretch, 23 seconds flat for the opening quarter mile. First Trumpet has the lead. Didn't have to work too hard to get there. Is up by a half length. And now Unbroken Chain is back for more. Unbroken Chain in the 2-path, 3 wide will be McCaw. Game Time Gladiator. Still a little keen here, wants to go, is right in behind the leaders, is ready to pounce, and the trailer is Outsource. They work into the far turn, 45-4 for the half-mile time. First Trumpet at a number is in front, has a neck advantage, 3 wide McCaw. Under pressure is Unbroken Chain, is trying to keep up with the top duo. Game Time Gladiator is switched to the outside, is trying to rally on, is taking a second to get there as First Trumpet is in hand. First Trumpet in hand, rides the rail, reaches the top of the stretch, 109-4 for 3/4 of a mile. Unbroken Chain continues to give game chase McCaw down the center of the racetrack, but First Trumpet is still there. Game Time Gladiator is taking a while to get going. Here comes Game Time Gladiator, is trying to get to the leader, the long shot leader in First Trumpet, who approaches the final 16th. First Trumpet is looking for the line. Game Time Gladiator trying to time it up. First Trumpet wins it.
Nice
First
race.
Trumpet over Game Time Gladiator, then McCaw
Nice race.
and Outsource in 1 minute 36 seconds.
Very good.
You see when you
Chain continues to give game chase McCaw down the center of the racetrack. Our turn,
Watch
45 and
the
4
horse
for the half
that's
mile
watch
time.
the horse that's
First
second.
trumpet at a number
Watch
is
how
in front,
late
has a
he
neck
switches
advantage, 3
leads.
wide. McCaw
That
under
poor
pressure
horse,
is unbroken
he
chain,
switches
is trying
leads
to keep
really
up with the
late,
top
and then he
duo.
gets all choppy.
Game Time Gladiator is
and you
switched
never
to the
want him to
outside,
get-
is
you
trying to
never want
rally
him to
on,
go-
is
get
taking
on
a
the
second
left
to get
lead.
there. His first
Watch
trumpet
it,
is in
Huff.
hand.
I'll
First
point it
trumpet
out to
in
you.
hand, rides
The
the
horse
rail,
with the
reaches
white
the top of the
saddle
stretch,
on.
109 and 4 for 3
He
quarters of a
still don't
mile.
switch leads.
Unbroken chain continues to give game chase. McCaw down the center of the racetrack, but first trumpet is still
See him?
there. Game Time
Yeah.
Gladiator is taking a while to get going. Here comes Game Time Gladiator, is trying to get to the leader, the long shot leader in first
Now he's
trumpet, who
switched.
approaches the final 16. First trumpet
He's
is looking
just
for the
switched
line.
now.
Game Time Gladiator trying to time it up. First trumpet wins it. First trumpet over Game Time Gladiator, then McCaw and outsource.
Very good, Eddie. Horse
Really?
looked
That-
good too on the racetrack. He looked good.
That horse there, you know, I have had numerous. I mean, he won twice more with me, with Gomez, which is a great kid, a good jockey. But when you put one of the leading jockeys in the country on a horse, and they don't look at the odds. Number one, number two, they respect you as a trainer, and they respect the owners, and they just listen. When the gate springs, just drop your hands, let him run into the bridle. Don't grab him. Exactly instructed, perfect. If he grabs the horse, he displaces. He flips the pallet, and then he goes all the way back, and then to gain momentum again, it's too late, you know.
Yeah.
But no, he raced super good. I mean, and I stepped him up from a 25 to life to a 30 because I couldn't get him in, you know. It's hard to get in these races. It's really hard.
Eddie, that horse that Ian put the shoes on for you, the glue-ons,
Yeah.
how long ago did he do that?
Just a couple of days, right? A few days
Yeah.
ago.
What's today? Today's Tuesday. He put him on Thursday. I went 1-1 with him, galloped 1 and jogged 1. Sunday I breezed him. Sound as a dollar.
And how many starts will you get out of those shoes?
How many starts?
Yeah.
I would say maybe 2.
Okay.
You know, but they cost. But he did me a solid, so because I know him 40 years. You know?
He
No,
knows,
he's a good guy.
he knows crazy Eddie.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He really is. That horse that win first trumpet, Larry. You know what I did with that horse? I didn't breeze him. I jogged him 16 miles for the week.
16 miles for the week.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, keep talking. I'm looking for another race here.
And
a race that Anthony sent me, and I know I did it.
They couldn't believe that I jogged them that much. I says, 2.5 miles a day. What do you want? I said, I condition. You don't have to breeze. Or why you got a breeze horse? What do you want to go fast in a breeze? No, you go fast in a race.
Even with standardbreds and any of my horses, I mean, I hardly turned the horse unless he was off for a while,
Yeah.
But 5-6 miles a day, every day,
Yeah.
just build up those miles, build up his
All right.
lungs,
Talking about that, Anthony.
Well,
There you go,
did
Ed.
an unbelievable job. You did an unbelievable job with this horse right here. And here's one of the races.
It will pay $146.70. With 2B, Bicycle Jim and Michelle Lachance, $185.10. 3C, Chance of Glory and Ben Steele will pay $537. And 4D, Perno Eden, driven by Jerry Prosino, will pay $732.30. 5E, Neville Noble and Joe Mars Jr., $497.10. 6F, Keystone Pursuit and Jim Tactor, $3,363. 7G, Roger Bell and Buddy Gilmore, $400.20. And 8H, Arnie's Dart and Walter Warrington will return $3,227.40. Bob Meyer gives us the call. We'll find out right now who the winner is.
They're off.
Hurricane Nippy on the inside tries for the lead. Keystone Pursuit to send the track second. Roger Bell towards the outside third. On his start, the far outside fourth. Bicycle Jim on the rail fifth. Chance of Glory sixth. Pernod Eden seventh, and Neverly Noble is eighth. Around the turn down the backstretch, Roger Bell in front by 2.5 lengths. Arnie Stark, the far outside second. Keystone Pursuit in between horses third. Hurricane Nippy on the rail fourth. Gap 2 lengths, Bicycle Jim fifth. Approaching the quarter pole, Arnie Start on the outside gets the lead. Roger Bell back to second. Quarter time is 29 and 1. Paddock turned the first time. Arnie Start in front by 2 lengths. Roger Bell second. Hurricane Nippy on the rail third. Keystone Pursuit the outside fourth. Bicycle Jim on the rail fifth. Chance of Glory sixth. Pernod Eden the outside seventh. Neverly Noble is eighth. Second by the stands the first time. Arnie Start in front by 2 lengths. Roger Bell second. Gap of 2.5 lengths. Hurricane Nippy on the rail third. Keystone Pursuit up on the outside fourth. Bicycle Jim along the rail fifth. Halftime 1 minute 1/5. Around the clubhouse turn the second time. Arnie Stark in front by a length. Roger Bell second. Hurricane Nippy on the rail third. Keystone Pursuit the outside fourth. Bicycle Jim along the rail fifth. Pernod Eden alongside sixth. Neverly Noble moving 3 wide on the outside seventh. And Chance of Glory is eighth. Down the back stretch, Arnie Start has the lead by a neck. Roger Bell right there alongside second. Neverly Noble rushing up on the outside. Approaching the 3/4 pole, Neverly Noble gets the lead by a length. Roger Bell second. Pernod Eden the far outside third. 3/4, 1:32 and 2. Round the far turn, Neverly Noble is drawn away by 4 lengths. Roger Bell on the rail second. Pernod Eden the outside third. Chance of Glory on the rim fourth. Keystone Pursuit along the inside fifth. Bicycle Jim goes off side. They come to the top of the stretch. It's all Neverly Noble by about 5 lengths. Pernod Eden down the center of the track second. Through the stretch, Neverly Noble in front and drawing away. Here's the finish. 5E, Neverly Noble, the winner by about 5 lengths. 4D, Pernod Eden.
Unbelievable. That's a horse they couldn't get trotting.
No, it was on the
And
paper.
Anthony bought him for $5,000, and look what he became. How many
Ronnie
races
Wren.
in a row?
How many what?
How many races in a row did he win?
Oh, he didn't win many in a row, maybe like 3 in a row, 4 in a row.
Well, that's because you kept moving him up in class.
Yeah, exactly. That's because I had idiot owners. They wanted him in for a 50 to 75,000 handicap. They wanted him for 75,000. And he always had the 9 and 10 hole and would win from the 9 and 10 hole. Then we put him in the opens, and he won a couple of races in the opens.
That's
Man,
nice.
you must have
If
went
they
down
would have
that
left
back
it just
street.
with me, he would have won a lot more races, would have made a lot more money. And I don't know how much longer he would have raced, because I raced him until he was 12.
Wow. You see, you
So-
don't see moves like that no more.
No more you don't. No. He was.
You know who
That's-
the first one that made that move at Yonkers and Roosevelt? The first driver that ever did that, 3 wide down the backstretch, Lucien Fontaine.
He drove him too. Lucian drove him, but he went first over with him. I don't know if it was the following week after this or
The
a couple of
5/8
weeks
sweep.
after that. But yeah.
All right,
Lucian
let's go.
drove him.
Let's go down the comments because I get yelled at.
Yeah, go ahead.
Get these phone
Don't get
calls.
yelled at, Larry.
What?
Don't get yelled at.
No.
Okay, here we go. Larry Cox. Hello, Ian. Oh, sorry we missed him. Yeah, well, I didn't have the
Early, that's why.
when he was on. Okay, Greg, Larry, when were you at Dover Downs? I was at Dover Downs in the 60s, in the mid 60s. When I got thrown out of Yonkers, that was one of the smaller tracks I was at. I think it was in the 60s. Yeah, I think it was in the 60s. I don't remember, but I was there. Okay, Greg, no foot, no horse. Very true. Hi, Ian. Geez, I should have put this up. I should have went through this list when Ian was here, because all these guys are saying hello to Ian. Not sure you remember me, Craig. No. Next time he's on, I'll do that. Sorry, Craig, and sorry, guys. That might have had questions from, but I didn't want to keep him on too long. The guy gets home late and he gets up early, like Eddie
What
here.
about me?
Like Eddie, yeah, like poor Eddie here.
I'm
More money
younger than
beds.
him.
Just call him and tell him. You
Yeah.
can watch it
Jesse
tomorrow.
Black,
whatever.
please hit the like button.
Hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell.
Like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Please, it helps with the aneurysm. What do you call it?
Algorithm.
Algorithms.
Aneurysm.
You're your aneurysms.
Allegedly, it helps.
Okay. Rick, there is a horse somewhere missing a foot. Oh, Rick. That was it. Oh, boy. To Ian, the top trainer for decades in Maryland King. Leatherberry used mud shoes or stickers, whether it rained or not. What's your feelings on that? That's why I should have went through this, because well, first of all, Ian would be, I don't think he would get into these questions too deep like I would. He wouldn't say anything. About another trainer using the mud shoes or mud corks or stickers, whether it rained or not. And all that does really, it was just like a borium or stickers. It's like maybe a half-inch going just for more grab.
It would rip them up.
He would.
Well, back then they used the turn downs and the mud corks.
Yeah. So I don't think Ian would answer that. He's too politically. He's very, very sharp guy. He don't ruffle no feathers.
You don't burn no bridges.
Okay, Vinny, wasn't the reason for casinos to provide bigger purses? That was the reason. Rick Jr. Alvarado got 62,005. Yeah, what was that all about?
Yeah, really.
No, he whipped the horse 8 times. First, they gave him a fine of $31,000 for excessive whipping the horse. Then they found out they counted 8 times, so they doubled it. And he got 2 days suspension. Now everybody's up in arms because, I mean, come on, you're racing for $5 million. Your adrenaline is flowing. And you know what they say, Larry, like you always say, that the horse racing got to protect the bettors and protect the horses, right? Now, say, how many people bet on that horse, Sovereignty or whatever his name is? Now, if this kid didn't rough ride or ride and hit this horse 8 times and loses because he did not whip the horse
after 4 times.
Yeah. You know, I mean, so now he loses the race because he didn't hit the horse a couple of more times or whatever. So you're not protecting the public. And they're betting.
Anyway, it's their way of making money.
So they find him. Where did he go?
Legalized robbery.
Take the dog for a walk? Oh, there he is.
I had to shut the air conditioner off. Plus, the dog was here.
And he was shivering.
No, you know what happened to my dog? Well, finish what you were saying. So, will the owners? You think the owners are going to pay that fine?
I would. If I was the owner, I'd be more than happy to pay it. Sure, I think so. Yeah. They should. They should.
How many times? What's the rule with the whipping? How many times are you allowed to whip? How many?
6.
6, and he did 8.
Yeah.
And he got fined that much for
That's
2 more.
Yeah.
Oh God.
That's Heiser. Yeah, they put the money in their pocket. These rat bastards again.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Legalized crime. That's what that is.
The jockey should have went on strike the next day.
Yeah, really.
Well, let me tell you what happened to my dog. That's why I have to keep him comfortable. And then you can continue the story. I was walking my dog the other day, and a lady was about 2 blocks from my house. She had the screen door open about a foot, talking to her neighbor who was on the stoop. And all of a sudden, I was walking by the curb, and all of a sudden I heard the lady scream. And I looked over, and here comes this gigantic dog.
Oh, God.
And he just ran, and he grabbed my dog by the right behind the neck, right by the shoulders. His mouth was so big, he grabbed the whole like
man.
that, and he wouldn't let him go. And I tried to grab him, but he had no collar on, and I didn't know what to do. My dog was on the ground. The other dog had him in his mouth and shaking him, and my dog was screaming. And the lady come running down, and she grabbed him by both sides of his cheek, and because it was her, he let go. And I took him to the vet, and we had to slice him open a little bit, and he got rid of all that blood and everything that was inside.
Oh man!
He poured about 50 cc's of some kind of maybe iodine or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And for the first time in his life, he was screaming and crying. He had to put a muzzle on. The first time he got aggressive in his whole life, because he's a very friendly dog and all he does is love people. They had to put a muzzle on him, and I was holding him. It was a tough day.
Oh my God.
And they give him a bunch of antibiotics and stuff.
Wow!
What kind of dog was the other dog?
It was a big mutt, but he was like big, like the size of a German Shepherd type dog. Short hair.
Was he an aggressive dog? Or?
Yeah, nasty. It was aggressive then. I don't know.
And they know where to grab. You see, that's like
that's
a lion. They grab him by the neck.
Yeah.
It happened to my.
The vet asked me, the dog that bit him.
You have the shots.
Did he have shots? And I says, I don't know. He says, well, you got to find out. But I forgot what house it was. I don't know.
I knocked on every friggin' door on that block. I found
it really wasn't her fault. It was,
but you got to find out. The dog had rabies.
Well, he seems to be okay. I got him on antibiotics now 4 days, and he's okay. A lot of the swelling went down. He had 4 big holes in him from where his teeth, the other dog's teeth, and they're all healing up pretty good. I had anyway. He's better.
My
but
sister-in-law had the same thing happen. She come home from shopping. She has a little one of those Yorkies or little dogs, and she has the camera phone on the bell. And she's talking to the dog, hey, I'm home. And then in the background, you see this pit bull comes running up behind her. She opens the door. She didn't see him, and he runs inside the house, grabs the dog by the neck, and drags him out and did like you shook him like a rag doll. Son of a... And the owner running. No, he didn't kill him, but she had to go to the vet. The vet bill was like $3,000 or $4,000, but the guy was really nice and he paid everything, so the dog was all right after.
They don't release. I was in the dog park. I was in the dog park, and they have a hose to fill up the water buckets, and there was a pit bull in there, and he was on the other side. He was friendly, and he was on the other side of the park, and all of a sudden he come running, and he grabbed the hose. And he wouldn't let it go. And me and the owner, we couldn't get the hose out of his mouth. He just wouldn't let go.
Yeah, they lock it.
And they said, well, you got the end of the hose and make the water go on him. He still wouldn't let go. So imagine if that dog that bit my dog was a pit bull, we never would have got him off him.
You're lucky you did. You know what happened down here? A lady was this is like not too far from where I live, about 2 miles away. A lady was walking her dog. It was right on Griffin Road, Eddie. You know what Griffin Road is?
Yeah.
There's a canal there. She's walking the dog.
Alligator Alley.
The alligator grabbed the dog off the leash and dragged the dog in the water, and it was gone. That was it.
That's Alligator
one of them
Alley.
Extendable leases.
Yeah.
You know, the extendable leashes, they open up, close.
Yeah.
And the alligator grabbed the dog and that was it.
That
happened in Sunshine Meadows when they first opened Sunshine Meadows. The whole infield was a big lake, And in the beginning, everybody brought their dogs there, and then that happened. He grabbed one dog, and then that was it. They just grab him, they bring him in the water, and they twist and turn and go underneath, and that was the end of the dog. Yeah. It's Florida's tough.
Did you ever hear the story about Andy Santaramo in Pompano?
No.
He was jogging on the track. An alligator chased him. There was an alligator in the middle of Pompano. Remember the lake?
Yeah.
Okay. He sees all the guys waving him off the track like, what's going on? It's early in the morning. The alligator was chasing him and the horse on the track.
And they could run up to 40 miles an hour.
Andy said, "I'm never so scared in my life. I'm whipping with the."
Yeah.
I just spoke
to the horse's leg.
Yeah,
Larry, I just spoke to Andy and Mickey McNichol.
Ask him, Eddie, about that story.
Yeah, I spoke to
Andy Santarama. He had a lot of health problems. He
had open heart surgery again. I just spoke to him the other day.
How's he doing?
He's doing good. He was going to see his son driving some kind of auto race in Philadelphia. But I told him, come on the show. And he says that, what did he say, Joe?
He says, I can't. My statute of limitations is not up yet.
He's got a million stories, and I got a million stories about him.
Yeah.
And Mickey Nichols, probably, in my opinion, could have been one of the top drivers in the world.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he had a bit of a problem, and it was
we all did.
Really good guy. Really good guy, Mickey.
Yeah.
I spoke to him and Andrew. They were together the other day. Matter of fact,
an ambassador? What do you call everybody? Every time I talk to you, you speak to people.
No, Bobby Van Ostrand called me, and he gave me Andy's phone number, and I called him up.
Well, you had to ask for it. You spoke to Menino. These are people I haven't seen in 40 years.
Me either.
Well, how do you? Well, that's good. I'm glad. I'm trying
to get your business.
Well, you should ask her. Well, we got to wait till the statute of limitations is over for Andy. I think Mickey retired, didn't he? Or is he still driving?
McNichol? No, he's retired. No, he's retired. What's funny was when I called him, I told him, I said, I'm racing. He called me. No, I was in the paddock. I said, I'm racing. So I says, bet the horse, first trumpet. He put 20 to win on him.
That's when he went?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
And he went to Philadelphia.
Mickey's a good guy. The last time I saw Andy Santarama, I was in Florida, and we went to dinner. And that was the last time I saw him. He was a character, really.
He's got a lot of stories, Andy.
Yeah, really good guy.
I got a lot of stories with him too.
Yeah, we got to get him. We got to get him on there.
7 years. He's got to wait.
All right, here we go. Okay, any of your mounts coming up looking good? Well, we already missed them all. Anything? That one that he just had the glue ones put on. You want to that, Eddie? Vinny wants to know if anything coming up looks good.
I got 3 going probably in about a week or 2 that look good. The white horse really should win. He should definitely win. I don't know when he's going to get in. I just have to put him in tomorrow. Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday for Sunday. See if he gets in.
All right, Vinny, look for a white horse.
A white horse.
All right.
Hey,
well, Larry, Ian, Joe, Anthony, and Eddie. I had 5 people on today. Well, no, there were 5 of us. Somebody told me I can get up to 10 people on here, but that 5 was good.
Yeah.
Hi, Angelique.
Angelique.
She, I finally went on this morning because a lot of my routines. I don't go to South Jersey no more. And my mission down there is over, and so I started watching Tommy Stig's show again, This
Stacks.
morning was the first time, and I saw her on the show. Okay, let's see. Sheldon, and Mexico paid for it, right, Joe?
What's that?
And Mexico paid for it, right, Joe?
Yep, they did.
What does that mean? What?
Because when what's his name? Ian was talking about rebuilding the walls of the horses. I said he's like Trump, he's building a wall.
Well,
And
yeah.
this guy wrote
Oh,
and Mexico paid for it, right, Joe? Actually, they did pay for it.
But I think Sheldon's on the opposite side of you, Joe. Oh.
Trump is doing a pretty good job, I think, though. Sheldon.
All right. Okay. Ian
Okay,
and Joe,
Larry.
Rick, Eddie looks like the drummer in Larry's favorite Liza Minnelli music video. Eddie
Yeah, it was.
Like
He was.
He
He
was
was.
little drummer boy.
I'm a drummer now.
Wait. Maybe we could put that up. Let's see. How do we put that up?
Oh no.
Okay, I won't do it. Okay, I won't do it.
Please.
All right. The world goes.
It's getting late, but
Yeah.
she's too theatrical for me. She makes me nuts.
Kelly says, hi, everyone. Kelly. I got to find out if that's Kelly Jones. That might be Kelly Jones. And Kelly Jones was the girl that we trained horses together, right? And she was the one whose horses died in that fire at Fair Hill, the one I just mentioned to Ian. She was the girl, Kelly.
Kelly, answer that for Larry.
Good girl.
Yeah.
Every week he asks you the same thing.
Every week. Yeah.
She's
Kelly,
a good girl.
Kelly Jones and Liza Minnelli.
She had a major. If this is Kelly, she very, very talented horse girl, trainer, everything. And she was at her place one day, and I don't know how it happened. I never had the courage to ask her, but a truck run over her head, and she was in a coma for a long time, in the hospital for years, and she's out now. And if you see her, she's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful girl. If you see, nicest girl in the world, and but now she's unable to. What a shame! It's just a shame. Sad. I don't know if this is the Kelly or not, but she called me about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, and said she was coming down this way, and I was hoping that she would. I told her she could stay with me in my house here. I have an extra room, and but I never heard back from her. So, okay, let's see, Eric. For Joe, you remember when I asked you about Samson Stables and Lou Domenico?
Damiano, yeah.
I forgot to ask Mike LaChance about winning Hambo with Self-Possessed. I went to school with Domenico.
Damiano.
Yeah, Damiano.
Yeah, Sampson Street was a big stable with the Meadowlands. They were like a lot of horses.
Mike's son is doing really well, huh?
I haven't been paying attention. I hope so.
He's doing good. A good kid.
A good family.
Hard worker. That whole family, very hard worker. Okay, Vinny, every Sunday morning I watch FanDuel racing. Almost every race trots 15 or more horses in a race. I have to see any with trotting hobbles. Okay. David, Eddie took it all. Beat up the big boys. Congrats, Eddie. Oh, very good.
Very good.
That Eddie, you got a fan there.
All right, Ronnie. David, good man. Thank you.
David, it's Francis. Oh, that is David. Yeah, right. Francis, good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Francis.
Hello, Francis.
Pretty picture, ain't it?
Yep, she's a pretty girl. All the girls on here are pretty.
Yeah. Where's your brother Anthony? He'd be interested in
Dominic.
Back and forth.
Dominic.
Dominic. What did I say? Anthony.
Anthony, you said.
I don't know where the hell he is. I don't know.
Okay. Good morning good to see everyone. Yes. Hey Larry, show some videos of your races and Joe's races too. We'd like to see them. Joe, I have 4 or 5 more of Joe's races. I don't have any of my races. I'm trying to get the last race I drove in my life. It was at the Meadowlands, and my friend Dina has the cassette of it. It was in I forgot what year. 2006, I think, something like that, or 2010 maybe. And she moved, and it's somewhere in her stuff. She said she's going to look for it, but so far she hasn't found it. So, but I will see, the problem I have with getting the videos up. I don't know how to do that, and I have to get my friend to do it because there's 3 or 4 different ways it comes up. Sometimes you can't, if it's more than 2 minutes, you have to do it a different way. And if it's on YouTube, I don't know how to, it makes no difference. I don't know how to do it. So I have to get my friend to do it. And he's just, I keep leaving messages. So when you're not busy, please give me a call. I have another video. And thank God he called me, and I was able to put Ian's thing up. But it took a couple hours to do that because he has to download it or whatever he does. And Ian's thing was tough because it was in an email or something. No, we couldn't do it through email because it was too long. So I don't know what he had to do, but it took a couple hours. So I says, just do one more thing for me. We did Anthony's thing, and that was it.
Larry, who had in Clover after you?
I don't know.
Because I raced against him in Garden State. You have one of the races of him.
I don't know. I had him in my stable up until 84. And then when they took my license away in 84, I gave all the horses. Well, I shouldn't say all of them. I gave maybe 30 of them to O'Donnell, I think. I don't remember. Okay. You know that they got that thing out there that Joe Rogan keeps promoting, that blue, what do you call it, Joe? Blue something, that blue stuff that you drink.
I forgot the name of it, yeah.
It's supposed to help your brain because...
I could use it. Send me a bottle.
Yeah. Send me a barrel.
I'm shot.
Mentholated blue.
Okay, Dave McKenna says, that's great, Steve. A number of us cashed thanks to Mr. DeLauro using the Jose Gomez off system. Oh, you got another fan there. They should whip they should whip Heisen 8 times and fine them $62,000.
Yeah, no shit.
Can you
Eddie,
imagine?
what are you praying, Eddie? You're praying over there. What are you doing?
Yeah.
If the rule, can you imagine that if they're nose to nose, right 10 feet from the wire?
Yeah, and you have to stop whipping.
You have to stop whipping because you're counting and you reach 6 times and you get beat a lip for a $5 million purse.
Yeah.
I'll pay the $62,000.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Okay, Glenn. How is racing protecting the public when they allow the what's CAW crap? What's that mean?
What crap?
CAW. Every winner gets pounded the last flash. Oh, that must be the computer stuff. Yeah. Well, you don't know how to stop it. I don't know the answer to that, Glenn. You know who would know that? Michael. That's who would know the answer to that. Whips are like pillows nowadays. I don't know about that.
I don't think so.
Francis says, hefty Heisa.
Read the next one.
Larry, call Heisa on the other dog owner. They can find them 62,000. I'm not. I don't even go looking because it wasn't the lady's fault. You know, what are you gonna do?
She should pay the vet bill at least.
I paid the vet bill. That's what the vet told me to do. Find out and she'll. And I'm sure that if I went to her, she would pay it. But it wasn't her fault. She was screaming. She was screaming louder than my dog. But and thank God because if she wasn't there and that dog just got loose, I couldn't get him. I would have had to let my dog's leash go, and just grab him by the hope that he come after me, or I would have had to kick him, which I didn't do that.
I would have been swinging.
I tell you, the only way I would have kicked if it was a pit bull and he wasn't gonna let go, then I would have had to kick him.
Would have kicked him anyway.
My friend just sent me a text. He says the racing whips have foam tips now, Eddie. Is that true?
Yes.
Like Nerf balls?
Well, that's what this guy Steve. You know him, Joe, and he says the whips are like pillows.
Yeah, they are. He just texted me. They're like the Nerf footballs.
Yeah.
They don't hurt. It doesn't hurt. They hit the number, make the noise, pop, pop. So what are you gonna do?
Well, that's like with the standardbreds too. The
number,
the whip and the snapper hits the number or the shaft.
Yeah, they hit the number. They hit the hub. They hit the shaft.
Rick, you got to try and pick up an attack dog by its back two legs, and kinds mops the sidewalk with them until they chill. That's a good idea. That's right. Just grab them. But I would have had to let my dog go and grab the dog's back legs. Yeah, but still, if it was a pit bull and he didn't let go, he would let me drag him. I don't know.
Broken legs, he'll let go.
That's a good idea. Okay. Larry, who gave you a license at Buffalo Raceway? Was Archie Gray? No, it was, oh God, I remember his name. Gordon Verhurst. Gordon Verhurst, the judge up there, presiding judge, Gordon Verhurst. It was 1959 or something like right around them years, 60, and it was Gordon Verhurst. And the reason he gave me the license was because when I first got up there, there was a massive snowstorm, and I made it to the barn, and I was unloading everything, and I think I had 3 horses with me, and I unloaded all the equipment and everything, and I saw at the end of the barn there was a body. There's a man laying on a bale of straw. So I went down there to introduce myself, and it was a little old black guy, and he was sick. And I said, "Are you okay?" And he was very sick, and he was burning up, and it was 0 degrees out. He was burning up, and I says, "Why don't you go in the tack room?" And he said, "Go look." The tack room had a dirt floor, no heat, no nothing, and it was warmer where he was. So we talked he was very sick. So what I did was, my horses were all put away and everything, and I said to him, I said, "Listen, I'll put down a bunch of blankets and everything," and but he didn't want to go in there. So we bedded down a whole stall. We put a couple of bales of straw in the stall, and he slept there. I put some and I gave him a bute pill. And the next morning, I had no car, and I walked into town, and I asked him for a heater, and the only money I had was $20 that Mike Foley put in my pocket, because he said he was coming up the next day, but they couldn't come because of the snowstorm. So I walked into town and I says, I need a heater. And he says, we don't have any. And I told him the story. He says, look, I have one in the back that we use when the back room gets, really bad. So I says, could you sell it to me? And I told him the story. So he says, all right. So I said, what do you want for it? He says, $40. I says, all I have is 20. And he took the 20 and I walked back up and I plugged the heater in. And the problem was, and this was a problem, that when we plugged the heater into the outlet in the tack room, after a couple of minutes, the fuse blew.
Oh boy!
And
fuse.
And it became, so we found the fuse box. I put a penny in between, but I knew that the wires were going to burn, but we had to try to get the room a little hot and a little warm. Anyway, we did all of that. And I kept just on for a couple of minutes. And then as soon as it blew, I took it back off. I waited a while. We put it back on and on and on. So anyway, I wind up taking his horses out for that whole week. I took care of mine and I took care of his. And the second day, a vet come around, and between the vet and some shots he gave him, antibiotics and penicillin and everything, he was getting better and better and better. And then his owners come up, and his owners told him what I did. And the owners couldn't thank me enough. And they were very friendly with the presiding judge, Gordon Verhurst. So I was given a fair license, because when I first got up there, I applied for a license. They gave me a fair license. And Gordon Verhurst, when the owners brought me into Gordon Verhurst, the presiding judge who gave me the fair license, he says, I will allow you to race in qualifying races here with a fair license, because normally you would have to go around to all the fairs. And then after about a year, you get your qualifying license. Then you could qualify for your license, for your provisional license at the racetrack. But he made me skip all of that. And then I was qualifying with a fair license. And after 7 or 8 drives, the meet was coming to an end. And he called me in and he says, listen, all your drives are satisfactory. He says, just make this one satisfactory and I'll give you a provisional license. And that's how I got my provisional license. And from there, we shipped right back to Ambinder's Horse Farm. And that's when I started racing at Roosevelt Raceway. I was the only provisional driver allowed to drive at Roosevelt Raceway. And the only reason for that was for Tommy Lucchese, who knew Morton Levy, who owned the racetrack, who was the mob lawyer for Lucchese and Frank Costello and all of them guys. So I got away with murder. And the only one that got mad at me a little bit turned out to be one of my best friends, Mike Santa Maria, because he had a P license at the same time, and they wouldn't let him drive. But after they let me, they had to let him. And we became good friends. In fact, I wound up selling my house, the house I built on Inverary on the golf course. I sold it to Mike and Paqualietta. I don't know why I told that story, but anyway, Gary, that's who gave me my license up there in I think it was 59 or 60 or something like that. It was Gordon Verhurst, the presiding judge. And you know who made my first set of colors up there? Bob Shuttleworth's mother. She was making colors. She made my first set of colors. Okay, Lou, hit thumbs up and subscribe. Yeah, that's right. It's not hard and no charge. That's right, Lou. Hit thumbs up and hit like and subscribe. It's all for free, and it helps with the
algorithm.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Algorithm. Okay. Great show as always, man. Thanks, David. Thank you, guys. Great show as usual. Craig, thank you. Rick Simon. Larry is such a good man. If anyone messes with Larry, I will delete them. I will delete them. Eric, they are tearing down the grandstand and clubhouse after Pimlico at long last. Is that true, Eddie?
They're building on a new track, a new place.
Okay. All right, that's all the comments we have. So as soon as Joe gets back, we'll call it a day. It's almost 2 hours that we're on this thing, so that's good. As soon as Joe comes back, we'll close it up, and we'll close it up with I don't know why he don't like that.
Liza Minnelli.
Eliza Minnelli.
I don't know why he don't like that. So I like that song.
Not fond.
Do you like that song, Anthony, with Liza Minnelli?
Not really, Larry. I don't mind Liza Minnelli, but I'm not wild about that. Like he says, he's too dramatic, I don't know.
Liza Minnelli's coming on.
Theatrical.
Yeah, but the words.
Theatrical.
The words.
I love the other song.
One day it's kicks, then it's kicks, and
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
But
perfect.
she looks like, I don't know.
All
I
right.
like the other one.
All right, we're gonna play. The other one was written by my friend Alfred.
Oh, we know. That's a great song.
Yeah, poor Alfred. I was sitting with Alfred, one of the most talented guys I know in the entertainment business. He's an actor. He's a songwriter. He plays the saxophone. He played in all the best places in Vegas. He was on the Ed Sullivan Show. He writes his own. Him and his wife Sharman. What a great guy! I was over his house the other day, and I'm sitting across the table from him, and he got a mini stroke, and he's and Sharman rushed him to the hospital. She stayed with him for two or 3 days in the hospital, and I think they got everything under control. He's okay. He speaks everything.
Oh, good.
It's just like a warning. He said because his blood pressure was too high, and but that's a scary thing. He was talking with me, and then all of a sudden, he's saying, "Yeah, Larry, blah, blah." Anyway, it was sad. Thank God he's okay. Good guy. Okay. Thank you guys for coming on. I don't know what's going to happen Thursday. Freddie hasn't gotten in touch with me yet, so I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm sure he'll come up with something. And that's it. Thank you guys for coming on.
How you feeling, Larry?
I feel terrific. I think I told you all that I got all my tests back from all the blood tests and all the CAT scans and everything. I got all the results 2 days ago, and everything was fine. Everything was everything was good. Everything was negative. They found nothing. So I guess I'm going to be okay. And I had a meeting. I had a meeting on Saturday. They had a big to do down here called Paisano something where they have, my friend runs it, and they had all the actors there from The Sopranos, all the fighters there. Everybody was there, and Boom Boom Mancini was there with everybody. Everybody was there, and they sign the pictures. You take pictures with them and everything, and they have plenty of food and everything, and. We had me and my friends, the guy who ran the place, and my other friend Kevin Donato, the actor, and the guy he already made 4 or 5 movies. The latest movie he just made, you should watch it. It's a good movie. He made it, I think, for $80,000. You'd never believe it. You saw it?
Yeah.
Where'd you see it at? Where can they see it? I see it on one of them streaming networks, right?
Yeah. I had to buy it.
You had to buy it?
Yeah. I had to buy it, and then my brother put it on DVD.
What's it called?
Bastard Sons.
Oh, Bastard Sons.
Bastard Sons, yeah. He made it for $80,000. He said he could make my movie because it has his own crew. He has everything. He started this about 20 years ago. He started doing little things, and now he's doing 5 movies a year, all the way up to $1 million now. But he makes these $1 million movies look like $10 million movies, because anything over $1 million, you have to deal with the unions. Anything under $1 million, you're on your own. They're SAG films, but you still don't have to deal with the unions because they take all the money, and everything becomes 10 times harder to do. So he says for $1 million, he can make my movie look like a $10 million movie. So I think that's the route I'm going to go, because Hollywood moves much too slow for me. And, if I was 40, 50 years old, I'd wait for a major studio, which these major studios, but the problem with the major studios, a lot of them are run by people who never been to a racetrack. They really, it's very frustrating. So I think I'm going to try to raise the money myself and just make the movie. Me, my friend Eric, and Mitch, who wrote the screenplay, and I think we're going to try to do it ourselves. So if there's anybody out there that has $1 million laying around, first of all, it's a tax write-off, and second of all, you're going to get your money back, because every movie that Kevin made never lost any money, because he made friends through all these years with foreign distributors, and he's a pretty sharp guy. All his movies made money. All his investors made money. So if anybody out there has some money they want to invest, just give me a call.
Larry, I just want to say one thing quick. Last Thursday, you said you were joking around, and you were. When you says that you think God put you on this earth to see how much how much punishment the human body can take. When you said that, I was think how many times God saved you.
I could list about 100 of them.
All right, how many times he saved your ass?
Yeah,
you don't even know about half.
Say somebody has 9 lives. You went through your 9 lives 40 years ago.
Yeah, I got news for you. I went through my 9 lives before I was 17.
Right.
You were a kitten. You were supposed to be a cat to get 9 lives. You went through them as a kitten.
If it wasn't for, in fact, I was listening this morning. It was the first time I tuned in to Tommy Stiggs, and Tommy Stiggs says, he was talking about, very interesting. He covers a lot of topics and makes a lot of sense. And he says that you should never blame your environment and for you being screwed up or being a mobster or a gangster. And I don't know, I guess that's kind of true, but I was in that environment, but I still took my own lane, and my own lane was what I did by myself was worse than if I would have stuck with the environment that I grew up in.
Yeah.
So the worst I got out of it was the beating I got from Detective Sands. They pulled that one pinky nail out and broke a bunch of ribs and cracked skull, broken
telephone books too.
And the telephone, but that's the worst. That was the worst. The first thing he did was pull the other nail. He couldn't get the pliers in any other nail except the pinky nail, and he pulled that right out. And I still wouldn't sign the confession. And then he went and got that big law book, and he kept hitting me over the head with it. And man, after about 4 or 5 shots, I I feel the blood running out of my ears and my eyes and my nose, and that was the worst beating. That was the worst beating I ever got. And yeah, you're right. I escaped all of that, and then 3 days in the tombs where I got bit by a rat. I think I got bit by a rat the first day I was down there, because in the tombs they have the tombs are 3 cells at the bottom of the precinct. It was 114 precinct. It was in the basement of the precinct, and they had 140-watt bulb there, very, very dull. You could hardly see. And they had about maybe 6-7 inches of water on the ground, and I was just walking around in the water. The cell is probably 4x6 cell, something like that. And the only thing you could sit on is like 2 pieces of wood, like a park bench. And I got bit, and I jumped on the park bench, and it was a rat that bit me. And they left me down there till Monday morning when they took me out and they put me in the paddy wagon. They took me to the courthouse on Queens Boulevard. They put me in a hold'em cell, and they gave me, because I hadn't eaten since Thursday night, and they gave me a white piece of white bread and raisin bread, and in the middle was bologna, I think. And I ate that right down, and I was a mess. My clothes were all full of blood. My whole face was full of blood. I couldn't breathe. It was just a mess. And that's when then my mother got me. I went to court. My mother got me out. And that's when she took me to Tommy Lucchese's, and he straightened my life out until that fucking scumbag Tannenbaum.
I'm lucky. I only had to spend one night in jail my whole life.
Well, it wasn't really jail. It was the tomb. Well, it was in a cell, in the tomb downstairs.
I went to the jail by Yankee Stadium.
That's a bad area. What were you doing over there?
I was coming from Atlantic City. Okay. And I went broke. I'm driving back. I got no money. I mean, nothing. The toll was like 50 cents then. I didn't have nothing. And I got just enough gas to make it home. And one of my grooms was at Yonkers. He had no money. He was with me. So we get to the toll booth. And at that point, if you didn't have toll money, they would give you a card with quarter slots in. And you would put the quarters in the card and mail it. They would take your license. So the guy, I said, listen, I just came from Atlantic City. I lost everything. I said, I don't have a penny. I said, could you give me one of those cards? And he says to me, we don't do that no more. I said, well, what do you want me to do? So he started, he said something nasty to me. So I opened my door and he slammed the door and hit my legs. So I'm drinking a McDonald's shake and I threw it through the window right in his face because he got me mad. I had a whole vanilla shake and I threw it in his face. And before I know it, there was like 6 guys on me. And my friend took the car and they took me to jail in Yankee Stadium, and I had to spend the night there. And you reminded me of it because about the sandwiches. When I got there, I was in the cell with about 6 or 8 big black guys, and I was the only white guy there. And they were passing around these cheese sandwiches. You know how they get like waxy around the corner? When they're old? Guy says, you want a sandwich? I said, no, man. A guy behind me bumped me. He said, yeah, you want that sandwich? You want that sandwich? Okay, so I gave him the sandwich, and I just had to spend one night. I was scared to death.
Yeah. And you wasted a good shake.
In the hold'em cell I was in, there was about maybe 6, 7 guys in that cell. It's a big,
that's what it was, 6 or 8 guys.
Yeah, 12 by 12.
But they look like the defensive line for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. But nobody was going to mess with me because they saw me. I was in bad shape. I had trouble breathing. It was just a mess. Anyway, guys, thanks for coming. I'm going to play It's Getting Late, the song that Alfred and Sharman wrote for me. And we're trying to get some Western country guy to sing this song. In fact, this is the demo. We got a country Western guy to sing it, but now we need a major starter to sing it.
We should have a contest next week.
What?
You got to let all your subscribers vote if they like Liza Minnelli or Leonard Cohen. Everybody knows.
Leonard Cohen would bury him. Yeah, Leonard Cohen. I don't think you can play Leonard Cohen because of the copyrights.
Larry don't. Oh, we can't play it.
Yeah, I got bombarded. Jesus Christ, they hit me. I got letters from all over the place from when I played Frankie Loke's funeral.
Really?
All them songs that they played.
But I'm surprised they didn't do that with Liza Minnelli.
Well, they did, but I only got one letter. On Frankie Loke's funeral, they had like 6 songs. But this song is getting late. There's no copyright because
that you can. Yeah, that's Auschwitz.
I could play it, even though the money that I make don't even what a joke that is. I just had to pay. I just had to pay $49 a month for what the hell was it for YouTube or one of them. Altogether, I pay about $1,000. No, more. Got to be more than that just to have this podcast. I forget who the hell I paid, YouTube or somebody, $49 a month. They take it out. You give me your credit card, they take it out automatically. And then it was $360 or $390 for something else, and it was $2 something for something else. And I don't know, but you know, we don't have. You make a lot of money if you have million subscribers or a couple of 100,000 subscribers. I think I have 2,000 subscribers.
Nobody's going to pay for us smokes.
So, and a lot of these people, then they go to Patreon where you have to pay. See, now if I went to, I think I have, you know, if you go back to the older videos, I was looking for one today because of something me and Joe were going to do, and I think what we're going to talk about, and I think I did it on one of my. So I was looking back, and there's 7, 8, 9,000 views on the older videos. So they, you know, so they keep going. But if I ever went to Patreon, nobody would ever show up because you pay like all the big shots. They have all the big podcasts. They go to Patreon and you got to pay like $30 a month, and it comes out. So if they have 1,000 viewers and they all pay $30,000 a month, now you're making money. But they you know, they're established, and they, you know, well, they all want to hear that mob bullshit. And Joey Molino, he went on Patreon now because they threw him off YouTube because he curses too much. So he went to Patreon, but he has all these followers. I think he might be up to 100,000 followers now. And if they're paying like, even if it's $10 a month, he's making a lot of money every month. If I ever went to Patreon and charged $1 a month, I'd probably have nobody that won't come on. Maybe you guys would pay $1 a month. But, you know, so
Eddie would sponsor us.
We would owe them money.
I'm better off. Yeah,
Eddie will sponsor us.
Leaving it the way it is. I pay $1,000 or $2,000, whatever it is for the year, and I have fun. Yeah, and I'm meeting, because all of you guys, I haven't seen you guys in 30 years. And a lot of the guys that come on, I haven't seen in years, and it gives me something to do. So it's worth it. And you know how, and you know, if I took each one of you guys, just the 3 years, out to dinner, that's and all separately or together, that's how much it cost me for the whole year to have you guys in my life every Tuesday. So it's well worth it. So anyway, that's it. Now I can't play Liza Minnelli because Joe don't like it, Anthony don't like it, and Eddie, he don't even listen to music. As soon as
I'm the drummer. So
yeah. Can't we play that just so we could see the drummer?
All right, go ahead. If you promise,
and then delete it.
I might have deleted it because
I said so.
Yeah, wait a minute. Oh no, here. Okay, look, we'll just look at the drummer and then I'll take it off. All right.
Tell the truth, isn't she too theatrical?
I think she's great. She's a theater actress. You know, she's
too theatrical.
Yeah, she's
That's what I said. I'm not saying she's not talented.
Right.
She's just too theatrical. She's too, like, you know.
All right,
all over the place.
let's look at the drummer, and then I'll take it right off.
Go up the yellow brick road.
Sometimes you're happy and sometimes you're sad, but the world goes round, and sometimes you lose every nickel you've had, but the world goes round. Sometimes your dreams get broken in pieces, but that doesn't alter a thing. Take it from me, there's still gonna be a summer, a winter, a fall and a spring, and sometimes a friend starts treating you bad. But the world goes round, and sometimes your heart breaks with a deafening sound. Somebody loses and somebody wins, and one day it's kicks, then it's kicks in the shins, but the planet spins and the world goes round and round.
Okay, I won't torture you anymore.
That's it. You tortured us.
It's all right. The beginning's right, but then she starts getting whacked out.
Yeah.
Well, you're better looking than that drummer, Eddie.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
you are, Eddie.
Eddie, are you still there? You sleeping?
He's frozen.
He's frozen.
Yeah.
Eddie.
You see what you did to him with that song?
Eddie.
Eddie.
Eddie, wake up. That's it.
He's mortified.
Yeah.
Eddie, what happened, Eddie?
Yeah, he's
frozen.
Maybe he jumped.
Yeah, he jumped ship.
Yeah, he left.
Yeah.
Yeah, he don't listen to music. Well, the good thing he left. I thought he had a stroke or something.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for
All right,
coming on. I'm going to end the show with it's getting late. So here we go. And then right after this song, it's over. So thank you guys, and I'll talk to you in a day or two.
All right, sounds good. All right.
Dump those grudges, ditch those judges. They're just weighing you down. Drop the haters, procrastinators, 'cause one man's smile is just another one's frown. When it's time for the end, ain't no warning, my friend. One day you're here, next stop the pearly gates. So listen close to what I'm saying. Lighten up, it's getting late. Dump collections, self-reflections, they're just covered in dust. Why obsess, worry or stress? Just ask yourself, what's the fuss? When your doctor calls you on a Sunday afternoon, gonna be a blue Monday, you'll be howling at the moon. You know you never can cheat fate. Lighten up, it's getting late. Forget bling and glitter, text and Twitter. Don't need it to make my case. Say it old school, face to face. Dump the users, soul abusers, turn and walk away. Give yourself a kick in the ass, then raise your glass. Let's toast to the past and make the most of today. Keep the faith, rise above, do the things that you love. Find a reason every day to celebrate. So listen close to what I'm saying. Lighten up, it's getting late. Live it well, have a blast. Live it full, life goes fast. You're carrying around too much dead weight. All the simple things are all that matter. Lighten up, it's getting late. Oh.
What?
Would you put your air condition back on?
No, why?
I could hear like a fan or something.
No, that must be the music. Well, no, the air. I shut the air off before.
Yeah, I know. That's why I thought you put it back on, because the song started fading, and I heard like a fan, an air conditioner go on, something.
No, I've been moving around. I was looking for something, but I can't find it. I was looking for. I found it. This book here. This book here. You got to get this book. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Death of a Racehorse?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable. I was going to do a whole podcast on it, but anyway, thank Joe. Joe, good luck to your father. I hope he's getting better every day, and
yeah,
I will. I'll talk to you in a day or two.
All right, Larry. Take care.
See ya. Good night, folks.